everybody. We're going to get started now. It is 12 noon, and we like to start promptly at noon, so we're going to get going. Welcome, everybody. Happy to see everybody here today. My name is Jim Musial. I kind of host these events and get them going each month, and we're very appreciative that you're all here. Before we get started, do we have anybody here for the first time? You could raise your hand. Got a few first-timers here. That's awesome. Thank you for being here. I know it's not for me, and I'm sure it's for our speaker, Brad, so we're happy that Brad is here, and I'm going to let Brad talk in a few minutes, but I got to get through a few housekeeping things. So, LA2M, we've been around for, this is our 8th year, and we continue to grow. We continue to have great speakers. It started about 8 years ago with just some guys sitting around having lunch and talking about marketing ideas, and it's continued to grow each year. We're very fortunate. We're actually very fortunate that we have our founder who got this all going, Derek Erbaum. Derek, we're glad you're here today. Derek has had to step aside a little bit because he's got so many other things going on with some of the successful businesses, but we're glad you're here with us today, Derek. LA2M is a nonprofit organization. We care about marketing education. We care about sharing great marketing ideas with the community, and that's why we continue to come each month and have great speakers here. We're all run by volunteers. I volunteer my time in organizing these events and speakers, and everybody else that helps out here volunteers their time. Carter Sherline from Frog Print Studios is here. He photographs volunteers and puts those photographs up on our Facebook page. Roger Rayle provides the video for us. We're very appreciative of that. We live stream these events each month, and then we also put the videos up on our website and archive them. So if you hear some great things today and you want to watch Brad again next week, you can always go to our website at LA2M.org and check out the videos as well as any of the previous talks we've had. Kathy in the back who registers everybody as you come in. We're appreciative of her time. Stacy in the back is our treasurer and helps us with our finances. So we're all volunteers, and if you'd like to be involved with us, let me know. We'd love to have more people, and we always love people who come and help with LA2M because it helps keep the organization strong. So for those of you guys that are new, most of you know the format here. I'll just get through a few little introductions here, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brad. Brad's going to talk for about 30 to 40 minutes and hear about some of the culture and some of the wonderful marketing things that are happening at Zingerman's. I'm sure everybody here is aware of who Zingerman's in. If you don't know Zingerman's, then welcome to Ann Arbor, because I'm sure you're far, far away. I don't know how you cannot know what an iconic institution they are to the area, and they do some great things. I've been fortunate to go over there and see the operations that Brad is a part of, and it's incredible. We've been trying to get Zingerman's here for a while, and it just hasn't worked out. I'm fortunate that Brad and I happened to work out at the same gym, so I waited one day until we were done with a really hard workout, and Brad's laying on his back trying to catch his breath, and I stepped my foot on his chest. I said, "Hey Brad, will you come speak at LA2M?" And he of course couldn't answer me. He said, "Blink once if yes, and I'll take my foot off, and 2 if no," and of course he blinked once. So, but kicking aside, Brad's a great guy, good friend, and I'm really happy that he's here today, and I think you will be too once you hear what he has to say. If you enjoyed today, we'd love for you to come back. On the table are some little LA2M cards. Feel free to take one, pass it on to friends and coworkers. We love to have new faces here. We love to have people coming back each month. So I'd appreciate it if you do that. If you're on social media, feel free to check in on our Facebook page. If you're on Twitter, we're at LA2M, hashtag LA2M. Please feel free to use it. We love all the social chatter, so if you enjoyed today's presentation, jump on there and leave a comment. We'd appreciate the feedback. So with that being said, I think that's about all I have to cover, so I'd rather turn the mic over and let Brad do the speaking today because he's got a lot more important things to say than I do. But I would like, one last thing before we get going. It doesn't have beer in it, but we'd like you to put your business card in it. I'm going to pass it around during the talk because when we're done, Brad is going to draw one of the cards, and he is going to send one of the world famous Zingerman's coffee, cakes, in a crate, beautiful, to you or to anyone you would like, anywhere in the country. So we're going to have a little swag giveaway today, and Brad was very nice.
Look at him all shuffle.
Find that card, find that business card. You also have some great literature from Zingerman's in front of you as well, and Brad's business cards and some additional literatures in the back, so please help yourself to it. If you'd like an extra one, take one. We have plenty. If you'd like to share it with family and friends, they're a great read, and like I said, just follow along with the great stuff that Zingerman's puts out. So with that, please join with me and welcome Brad Hedeman from Zingerman's.
Hi, everybody. I am Mike. Can everyone hear okay if I just talk in normal? Great. I've always been told to open with a joke, and we're at Conor O'Neill's, and there's a gentleman that works with us at Zingerman's mail order who also used to kind of man the door, and he's very funny, and he told me a joke, so I have to share it with you guys. Do you guys know why there's 239 beans in Irish chili? Yeah, because one more would be too farty. But I don't have an Irish accent, so that's right. Thank you to Jim. My name is Brad Hedeman, and I came to Ann Arbor in '94 from a little town called Okemos, east of Eden, or east of East Lansing, as you might know it, and went to U of M. Started working that fall at Zingerman's Deli when it was still just a deli, and there was a bakehouse, and there was a couple little things across the street that didn't really have a title yet. So I was a creative writing major, so I was perfectly qualified to work in food service upon my graduation. And after a few years of working on the sandwich line, being front of the house, selling olive oil, vinegar, all these things, I hadn't written the great American novel yet, so I started to think that maybe Zingerman's was a place that I could find some work. And the catalog business, the mail order business, which is where I work now, was beginning to grow, and the one gentleman that was putting the catalog together eventually needed help. And all those years of selling $12 jars of strawberry jam or $200 bottles of balsamic vinegar was really great training in terms of how to write about it. So I'm actually the only creative writing major I know that writes for a living. So now my job is, technically, we don't have a lot of titles. At Zingerman's, we're totally corporate, but when I put it on business cards, I say marketing and product selection. So that means that I send out a lot of emails around the holiday time especially, but I pick the products that we sell. I travel a lot to meet the people that make them, to get their story, to bring that back and to share that in the copy, also in videos now that we've been doing. So I have a rather enviable task of tasting a lot of food that's sent my way and getting to travel to Europe or around the country to go meet the people that make it and bring that back. And it's kind of a dream job. I don't think anyone would disagree. All right, so if you were to read the online comments on like MLive or something, you might think that Zingerman's is an evil empire bent on the destruction of all local small businesses here in Ann Arbor. And while that is one of our goals, really what Zingerman's is actually a community of businesses. Now there's one missing from this, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But many folks think that the founders, Paul and Ari, are up on top, they own everything, they run everything, and that's really not the case. We have a very unique business model in the sense that we're these community of businesses where we're all Zingerman's, but we're all run by managing partners. And these are people that were passionate, that started the business themselves, that use all of the resources that we have together, like IT and HR and central accounting and marketing and graphics, but we do our own thing, we make our own decisions. Collectively, we do about $65 million a year as a whole community. At the top of that is the deli. They're about 16, 17 million. Mail order is actually probably the second one, but we're the biggest profit maker, so we're about $15 million. And then Bakehouse, Roadhouse, those are the other large ones. Zing Train Coffee, Candy Creamery, Cornman Farms, these are all burgeoning businesses. They've been around for a little bit. They're, in many cases, like the creamery and candy and coffee, they're wholesalers. So they do sell outside of Ann Arbor. And then we have a newest one. Does anyone know what the newest Zingerman's business is? Miss Kim, that's right, yeah. We'll talk about that in a second, because I think it's really unique about Miss Kim, because if you look at has anyone been there yet? Oh, okay. You'll notice that it doesn't say Zingerman's on the door, right? It just says Miss Kim. And that was quite a conscious decision on Ji-Hae Kim, who runs the restaurant's part, because she's local, she's gonna serve people. People have opinions about Zingerman's already, being in town, be it good or be it bad. And if it did say Zingerman's, some folks might say, well, why is the Jewish deli opening up a Korean home-style restaurant? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But all of the support that's behind being a partner with Zingerman's is there for her, and I think when you go in, it should feel like Zingerman's, and the service and the way that they present things, the quality of the food, the way it looks, still fits with our look and feel, and we'll talk about that in a second. But so we are a community. Now in 1994 was a big year for us. Up until that point, you had the deli, which started in '82, and in about 1992 is when Zingerman's Bakehouse started. And Zingerman's Bakehouse started because Paul and Ari specifically were not happy with the bread that they were getting from Detroit to use on the sandwiches. They thought we could do better. So in talking with Frank Carolla, who was a longtime friend of theirs, he was passionate about baking. He went off and learned how to bake bread from Michael London, which was in upstate New York. We used his recipes, and we brought in an oven from France, and we just really started to just be a wholesale company that was just going to sell to deli and then to other markets around. But lo and behold, people kept going to the bakehouse wanting to buy the bread, and that was never really a part of the initial vision. So it took someone who's very energetic, and who's one of the reasons why I came to Zingerman's, from the deli. She said, look, give me a card table, and I will set up a retail spot. People want to buy from you, regardless of if you want them to buy from you or not. And that was a real impetus on us documenting and really cementing what it was to be a Zingerman's business, right? Because up until that point, there was a lot of personality at the deli. We had a lot of ideas about what we were, but we hadn't documented it. And that's really one of the big things I think that's really important to how Zingerman's looks, feels, markets, what the products that we make, the products that we bring in and buy, all is because we documented this, and we kind of documented our culture back in 1994. So in 1994, Zing Train was about to be our third business. And one of the partners was a gentleman by the name of Stash Kazmierski, who worked many years with the auto industry. And he's like, you guys got to have a mission statement. And that's, it's always maybe seemed a little touchy-feely for us, but he's like, you have to have a mission statement because people need to know what it is you're about. And you're going to have guiding principles. So our mission statement, which many of us have memorized after 20-some years, is we share the Zingerman's experience, selling food that makes you happy, giving service that makes you smile, in passionate pursuit of our mission, showing love and care in all of our actions to enrich as many lives as we possibly can. Does everyone have a mission statement for their business? Yeah. If you don't have one, do you communicate to your employees what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and what you're trying to do? Yeah, I think so. I mean, people need to know why they're doing the work, right? And for Zingerman's, I think what's really unique is the sense of ownership that we all feel in the success of not just the business that we work in, but Zingerman's as a whole. So, we look at that community, I know probably the outside world, we're all Zingerman's. And the only people that care that we're 9, 10 different businesses are the people that work in those 9 and 10 different businesses. So a challenge that we often have, and that we always succeed on, is looking at our businesses the way the customers do. So I'll get calls at Zingerman's mail order about a problem they had at Zingerman's Roadhouse, or a coffee that was too cold at Zingerman's Coffee Company. And we handle it just like we're the coffee company. There's no, oh, well, you have to call the coffee company. That's not me. We apologize, we handle the problem, we share the information, but that person that called, even though we didn't put that cold coffee in front of them, or we didn't forget their fries or their burger, to us they're our customers because they're Zingerman's customers. And when you have so many businesses that all look and feel the same, it looks and probably effortless, or maybe that it was just organic, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of constant work to make that happen, and for us all treat each other that way. So part of that 1994 big meeting was to come up with a vision of 15 years out, and that's when the community of business vision came to be. Now, we also came up with guiding principles. This is more than a mission statement. This is kind of more of the details of what it's going to be like to be there, what we're trying to do, and what kind of experience we want to have for our employees. So first thing is great food. Right? And I think we can all agree Zingerman's has some pretty good food. Great service. A great place to shop and eat, solid profits, a great place to work, strong relationships with our vendors, the people we buy from, the people we sell to, a place to learn, which is a huge part of working at Zingerman's, and an active part of our community. Food Gatherers was started by Zingerman's way back when, and that's really taken off and does some amazing things as far as food recovery goes and feeding a lot of hungry people. The Delana Center, when that was being built, there was a big push by Paul Saginaw, especially, and Zingerman's had a lot of input and a lot of force trying to get that off the ground. So we care about all those things, but I think in the community on the back end is something that we're most proud of that doesn't maybe get a lot of attention. But great food, great service, and solid profits are the three things that we pulled out to be our bottom lines. So we're all in the business world. We know that there's really one bottom line, which is profit, right? How much money do we make? To us, we felt that three bottom lines were equally as important as how much we make. Now, great food, that's what we're about. If we don't have great food, people are going to stop coming. Great service is equally as important, because if our service sucks, people are going to badmouth it. It's going to be over pretty quickly, especially in this, social media age. When I started out, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was no Yelp. We would say, a customer has a good experience, we'll tell 3 people, and a customer has a bad experience, we'll tell 10. But now, with 140 characters or everyone on your friends list, you can tell thousands of people that Zingerman sucks. Right? So it's all the more important now, and even how you respond to that kind of stuff on social media is important. So if our food sucked, people would stop coming. If our service wasn't any good, but the food was great, then people wouldn't come much anymore. And solid profits, so for us it means great finance. If we're not costing things effectively, if we're not pricing things effectively, we won't be in business anymore. We could have awesome food and great service, but if we're not charging enough to pay our customers or to pay our bills, we're not going to be around for very long. So to us, those three things are equally as important, and we shine the light on every one of those things to sometimes an annoying degree. But no, so we've got our principles, we've got our mission. The big challenge now is to define these things. Because you can just say, oh yeah, we've got great food. And you say, well, what does that mean? They're like, well, it tastes good, But to be specific for us, it is full flavored. And usually most of the time it's traditionally made. Traditionally made meaning from a place that's been doing it for 200 years, some 5th generation company. They're following and using the same artisan recipes that have existed for centuries. Oftentimes a lot of the foods that I find I get really excited about are the things that maybe it's very common in some small town in southern Italy, but is rarely even seen in the next town over. Those are the kinds of things that no one else has, that we think set us apart in the marketplace, and especially now, with the rise of artisan food, it's really accessible. We've got our Whole Foods, Trader Joe's even to an extent. But our tastes, as far as a culture across this country, are rising, they're going up. Just having 48 olive oils or whatever we have at the deli, it isn't enough anymore, because you can probably find it at Whole Foods, and guaranteed you're going to find it cheaper. Oftentimes, the people that sell us food sell to other distributors by saying, I'm in Zingerman's. And they're like, oh, okay, well, let me buy 17 cases instead of the 2 that Zingerman's bought. So we're constantly being driven to find something new, because we know eventually everyone else is going to catch up. And we'll never be able to compete on price. We're never going to be able to compete on volume. We're never going to have that buying power that a Costco or a Trader Joe's is going to have. So we have to have selection you can't find anywhere else. And to us, the curation of the products that are on our shelves at the deli and my catalog, that is something that sets us apart. It's, in some ways, one of the only things that sets us apart when it comes to the food. Open book finance. Has anyone ever heard of the term open book finance? Okay, cool. I won't make you explain it. But in short term, it means that all of the financials, save for salaries, are open to every employee that works in the business. So I know that the deli does about $16 million, $17 million, and that they're behind plan because of open book. I know that the candy company did better with they almost got to their plan, but didn't do as well as they did last December, for instance, because of open book finance, because which comes out in September, which is great. But that ownership then now I don't even just care what happens at mail order. Now I care about how the coffee company is doing. I care about how the creamery is doing. As somebody that buys products, I start to think of ways that I can help my wholesaler partners to create new products that I think will work well for us, and will create a new SKU for them that they can maybe sell to another wholesaler down the road, because I care about their success, because it's literally going to impact my own success, and maybe a dividend at the end. So this culture of open book and sharing all of these financial statements, not only that, when we have huddles, employees, frontline employees own the line of NOP, for instance, or they own the line of food costs, so that they explain to the whole group, and there, be it the service center, the people that answer the phones, when they huddle, the metrics that they look at, every one of those employees has something they're responsible for, and not only do they share the information, but they have to share the story behind the numbers, and they have to know that so that they can answer questions and they can impact it. So open book to me is one of the most revolutionary things that we've done, and I would encourage everyone else, if I know it sounds scary, but there's a lot of things you can share, and if you give people that work for you the power to impact it and show them what's happening, they make the right decision. And that's something that we had to document. When I started in '94, on my very first day, I was in the bread box. Guy came in, didn't like the bread he got yesterday. I turned around and said, "What would you rather have?" He went out with a free loaf of bread, and the person training me goes, that's perfect. That's exactly what you do. Now, we didn't have it documented, but to me, it just seemed like the right thing to do, right? And from that very moment, I didn't feel like I worked for Zingerman's. I felt I worked at Zingerman's. And does anyone know any other Zingerman's employees? You ever come across them in the community, at a dinner party, at a cocktail party? All of our ears burn whenever we hear somebody talking about something at a Zingerman's business. And if there was a code red, we can't help ourselves but to go over and try to handle it, even though it wasn't our business, we weren't there. But that's how we feel all the time. When we're at work, when we're not at work, we don't turn it off, because to many of us, Zingerman's is a part of who we are. And working for a place that incubates that kind of a feeling is one of the reasons our culture, I think, is so strong and so well defined and so compelling to many people. You guys disagree? So great service being the other thing. And for us, service is something that's constantly going on. When I talk to other groups about giving customer service, they say, do you guys give customer service, good customer service? Do you believe in it? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, well, what does that mean? And it's like, well, being nice to people, being polite, right? And it seems simple to say, well, do a good job, but it's part of this documentation. It's part of putting down what it is we mean when we say something like customer service. Led to coming up with recipes, the same kind of recipes you might make to make a pasta salad, or the mac and cheese at the Roadhouse, or one of my gift boxes. There's steps to follow. So a lot of people think we just hire really gregarious and nice people and we just luck out all the time. But the fact is, we have to train them how to give great customer service the way that we see it. I'm going to get to those because we've got the recipes coming up next. But to us, it was to teach it. So we have to teach it to all the groups. So everyone that starts at Zingerman's, one of the first classes they take is the Art of Giving Great Service, where we go through all of how you're going to handle service. Defining, and that's a big thing. Like I said, people are like, yeah, we give customer service. And I'm like, well, what's your definition? They're like, polite. To us, we explicitly say what it is, and that builds the expectation that people can reach.
Can you give a more specific example?
Of the recipe, or of
What you define as great service?
finding out what the customer wants, getting it for them accurately, politely, and enthusiastically, and going the extra mile. And so there's many. Now those are three very simple steps. Find out what the customer wants is rich with ways, right? It could be conversation. It's never, if you go to any Zingerman's place, I hope you never hear somebody say, can I help you? Right? Because we never ask yes or no questions. If you ask, can I help you? The answer is usually, no, I'm all set, just looking. Right? So we engage. We have a 10-4 rule. Have you guys ever heard the 10-4 rule? When you're within 10 feet of somebody, you make eye contact. Whether you're in 4 feet of somebody, you say hi, verbal, hi, good to see you, Susan. We don't just do that with customers, we do that internally with all employees. So this customer service, it's not 3 steps to great customer service, it's 3 steps to great service. And it's the same recipe we follow internally, between our businesses, with each other within our own departments, and the next department over. This is what we do to each other. Yeah, it's a little bit more familiar, I think, but the fact is we use the service for everybody, for the vendors. For the people I've ordered from and they haven't sent me what I want, I give them great service so that they'll keep going. Right? So this isn't just when you're looking at people. This also works behind you. We have a lot of counters, a lot of people with their backs turned. You have mirrors so that people can see if someone's there so that they can turn around and acknowledge them. Getting it for them accurately, politely, and enthusiastically. You know, that enthusiastically, there used to be a saying that Ari would buy anyone lunch if a customer complained they were too nice, too enthusiastic. And I think that was a great rule of thumb, especially with people starting out. Because when you don't know, give them the clear expectation. Just be a lot of fun, be enthusiastic. Now there's a lot of retail theater that goes into this, we all have our own personalities. We're not robots trying to duplicate what the next person does, but these are the things that really guide us. And as we get better at service, as well as we get better at any kind of job, we understand that there's more nuance to it, right? There's more gray areas that if somebody comes into the deli with a black armband in a suit at 11:30 in the afternoon, maybe trying to make it the best part of their day isn't something. Maybe they just come from a funeral. You know, there's a lot of things that we can look at and we go, can I help you, sir? We don't get into, oh, did someone die? You know, but we say, welcome, looks like you could be hungry. You know, it goes right through there. So it could be a service where they want it, this big grand show and we're happy to deliver it. It could be somebody who really just wants to get in and get out. We're gonna do that too. So at the beginning we always err on enthusiastically. Once we get a little bit better, we always say appropriately. Now, part of our service though is fixing mistakes. So we have 5 steps to handling a customer complaint. This is the one thing that people are always really scared of at first, but because of our culture, this is such a part of us that I will get emails from people, maybe from the bakehouse if they shorted us, that are following the same 5 steps that we would follow with any kind of a customer complaint or if we messed up anything. Even if we didn't mess up anything, we would follow these. And for us, the first one is to acknowledge the complaint, which seems very straightforward, very simple. It doesn't matter if we're admitting guilt or anything like that, but if someone calls to say that their bread's hard, first thing out of my mouth is, I'm so sorry that the bread is hard. Second thing is to sincerely apologize. And a lot of times you didn't make the mistake, but you're sorry that they're upset. And that's sincere. I am really sorry you had to make this call to go through this, because I understand. I mean, who likes complaining about anything? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, we hate complaining. So we look at a complaint, code red is what we call it internally, we look at it as a gift, as a huge opportunity. Because as I said with the social media, they could have a bad experience and go right to Twitter and go right to Facebook and tell everyone about it. But when someone comes back into the store and says, you know what, you kind of screwed something up. They're giving us not only the opportunity to fix it, to make them happy, but to keep them as a customer. And at that point in time, I don't even really care about any kind of negative press. I just want to keep them. I want to turn it around. I want them to walk out, yeah, we screwed up once, but when they walk out the door, they know that if we ever make another mistake, we will fix it without any hassle, without any kind of questions, to the best of our abilities. And every single employee is empowered to do that, regardless. You know, if that dishwasher who spends all this time in the back room at the deli comes out to get a soda and some customer grabs him and says, my sandwich is cold, that person knows exactly what to do and handles it in the situation. They never say, let me get a supervisor, let me get a manager, because we don't want to be passed along. They grabbed you. You work for Zingerman's, you fix the problem. And that's, our culture is much about that as well. It's that empowerment piece. And then when we fix it, when we take action to make things right, we know our financials, right? If you bought a $20 gift, I'm not going to give you a $100 gift card to fix it, because I know how that costs. But we all know what the math is behind fixing a code red as well. That is something that we really document and share across the entire ZCOB. That's our shorthand for the community businesses. We look at our ratings for how we're doing for the Zingerman's experience. We have a measure that we call the ZXI, which is the Zingerman's Experience Indicator, which measures just basically would people recommend us or not. And if they wouldn't, why wouldn't they? Or if they would, why would they? And for that, it's a 0 to 10. And if they're a 10 or 9, that's a promoter. If they're an 8, they're neutral. And if they're 7 or below, we need more action. We need to help them. They did not have a good experience in our minds. Now, what this does, because we have code reds, which are great, and this is how we figure it all out, right? We take action and things is right. We thank them sincerely because, like I said, they gave us the opportunity to keep them. They might have highlighted a problem we didn't know about, so it really will make a bit of difference in our business. And then we document the complaint and share all that information with everybody. Now, the ZXI, so what we realized is we had great systems for fixing problems, but we didn't really have great systems for the people that really liked us. Promoters, we call them, right? Those 10s and 9s. These are the people that do a lot of my work in marketing. They go out and they tell their friends, you should try Zingerman's. You should go to the Roadhouse. They've got an amazing Salisbury steak, which sounds funny because none of us think Salisbury steak's great. It's really good, right? So we have been working over the last 10 years to come up with more ways to help to reward them, because they are such big promoters, because they do so much of our work for us, because they love everything that we do and they want to share it, because they too feel an ownership of Zingerman's. There's a term called the third place. Have you guys ever heard this in retail or in restaurants? Right? There's the first place is your home, second place is work, and then your third place is where you choose to spend your time. Right? So the regulars at Zingerman's next door, if you ever go to the cafe, I can see the same people every Tuesday through Friday that are there every morning. If I came back in the evening, I guarantee you I would probably see the same 3 people that are going to be there 3 or 4 times a week. These people have chosen Zingerman's as their third place, the place where they choose to spend their time. These people are worth rewarding. So we want to always be conscious of the fact that we're not spending all of our time on the people that complain, but that we're spending at least as much time rewarding or bringing those promoters more into the fold. And it doesn't mean giving them away free things all the time. It can just be information. It can make them feel like they're in the club, right? That they know about a secret deal that's coming out or a promotion that's coming out, or there's going to be a spring sale that starts in March. These are the kinds of things that people want to know when they pick you as a third place, because they feel like it's theirs too. And that's one thing I think is really a big reason of the culture of Zingerman's and why it feels so open and inviting, because we want it to be. All these things, continuing on the documentation, there's the look and feel that we have. So if you look at any of that stuff, you're going to see some squiggly kind of writing. Right? And our look and feel really came about very early on. Now we have a font, it's that kind of handwriting font that's called Muno Bold. And it's named after Steve Muno, who went to U of M as a design major, and then started working for the deli. And he started just being on the line, selling cheese, selling meats, whatever. And then he would, because he was artistic, could make the signs. And so he became our first design department. And I think that's something that's pretty unique about Zingerman's, because it was still a very small business, 20, 30 people maybe that worked there at the time, but it had a design department. And it had one driving force that was starting to really document and create the look and feel. So that Zingerman's look and feel, that's that Muno Bold. It looks that way because Steve couldn't write in a straight line. Like, that's the real reason. Like, he just couldn't do it. So he's like, well, if I can't do it, I just won't, and that'll be the look. And when I started back in '94, there was a class you took on sign making that taught you the alphabet of Muno Bold. And there were rules, like if you have 2 L's, coming back to back, the first L has to look different than the second L, and here's how that second L is going to look. So I mean, it was really detailed and well documented, and everything looked the same, and that's really why. So now that's how we write over there. If we had flip sheets, I'd be writing in that same thing probably for our titles. This was really a big part of our marketing, because we had one person that was doing it, and then the next job he had was doing what we called the changeover every month, whatever next promotion was coming up, right? So he knew what was coming up. He was going to redecorate the whole deli, which he did every month with a couple of people, and then he became very instrumental in the newsletters. I don't know if you guys have any of our Zing newsletters on there, the green one there. So then he started putting that together with Ari, and then he started connecting that to the promotions that were happening in the month, and then this newsletter became a marketing plan, really, for the next 2 months. And then they knew what they were going to do there. So it came about somewhat organically, but it was, I think, it's special that this one person really grew to a point where he was really, without even trying, creating a marketing plan for the whole organization. I always thought that was kind of cool. But our look and feel is well documented. It's fun. We want to get wild. We want to make people smile. I don't have all these memorized, that's what I'm looking. The more fun we have, the more fun our guests have, and which is absolutely true. When I started, it was still just that small deli. Now it's much larger, there's a lot more space. And to me, it feels different. I'm working with them to try to get that old feel. But if anyone shopped there 20 years ago, you would remember it could be shoulder to shoulder, it's loud, it could be hot, it could be crazy, and I loved it. It was fun. And people knew when they went into that deli, they were in for an experience. It might be crazy, it might seem chaotic, but it was going to be worth it because there was going to be this delicious sandwich or it was going to be an amazing cheese. And we had an ability, and still do, to make them feel like even amongst this chaos, it's just you and me. Now we're in it together kind of a thing. And it's always been fun. It's something we try to do with our website as well. And in the last 6 months, I made about 100 videos of our top 100 most popular products so that people could actually see them because, it's just illustrations on our website. And that's something I'm constantly thinking about is how it was when I was on the floor of the deli, how I would engage and talk to somebody about a jam or a vinegar or some weird pasta. And I want that feeling in the videos. I want that kind of personalness, and I want it to feel like it's fun. So we make fun of ourselves, we make puns, we're engaging. So we want to tell the story about the products and the people that make them. Oftentimes somebody might have traveled to an area and that's how you're going to engage. And like, oh, you've been to Tuscany. Well, let me show you some of the products. What did you think about it? And that kind of bringing them into it. And informative education, sharing information about the products, the people, like I'm doing right now. That's a huge part. We wanted people to feel like they could go in there every week and learn something new about a product they knew nothing about, or learn something new about something they thought they knew a lot about. It's what keeps driving us. It's why I'm still out there trying to find the best tasting things and to meet the new producers. It just keeps us more interested, and it establishes ourselves as the leading source of food and cooking information in our community. I think it's been pretty good. We're colorful. We get wild, bold primary colors. We are very bold. We overstate rather than understate. If you're not sure if you're being funny enough, informative enough, colorful enough, or differentiating enough, do more. That's what we do. But we are very down to earth, and I think especially in the specialty food world, when I started, there was caviar, which no one ever tasted. There was truffles, which again, no one ever tasted. And it was Julia Child and French cooking and nose in the air and white linen tablecloths. And we sell a $200 a pound Barrico ham over at the deli from guys with t-shirts and stuff. A lot of the food we sell is peasant food. A lot of artisanal food is just what the peasants, poor people, could eat 300 years ago, right? They didn't have steak. They couldn't afford meat. There was maybe one time a year they might have it. So they had pasta, they had cheeses. These were the things that just sustained them and kept them alive. And now we're paying $30 a pound for it. It's approachable. This is people's food, although it started to gain this reputation of only being for the rich and only these kind of people could appreciate it. It was always been and continues to be our big drive to convince everybody that this is food for everybody, even if you don't know anything about it. When I started, I had to convince people what olive oil was. I had to tell them. And now, people have 3 or 4 different olive oils on their pantry. We are high energy, action-oriented. We try to personalize as much as possible. And to that, I mean that we never say, this is the best glass of water you're ever going to find. But we'll say, this is my favorite glass of water, and I've tried a lot of glasses of water. But this is the one I really like the flavor the best. If you like something different, that's great. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just trying to tell you why this one we think is really, really good. Okay? And using our personal experiences is always a big part of that. And then we always build on the Zingerman's name. Now, back to Miss Kim, she's not exactly building on the Zingerman's name, but it makes sense to me. If it was a new wholesaler who was going to make salami, and they didn't want to have the Zingerman's name, I would think that would be idiotic, because Zingerman's name does have some cachet even outside of Ann Arbor. I'm moving on to time, sorry. So we have then also merchandising. So marketing, we always think of marketing as what brings people to your store, and merchandising is what you do to them once they're there. For us, it's the craft of selling. It's the management of products, like I said, that curation. Why do we have, there's a reason why we have all of these products, not just because we think they'll sell, but because we think it's the best tasting. We try to create retail theater, right? It's a little show every time you're interacting with a customer. And it's the sum total of all of those messages. Our design, our operations, our merchandising, all of these things feed in together and get us the sale at the end. So for us, Where do we invest our marketing resources is in products that differentiate us, and we suggest you, in the marketplace. To the point, like I said, the place that makes 400 pounds of this cheese every year, we're going to buy 100 of it and no one else is going to have it. Those are the kinds of things that people come to us for, and even if they don't buy that cheese, they've come to us and they're going to find something else. Products that get you significant results. So, if it's got a nice margin on there, I think that's a pretty good product to sell if you think it's really delicious and something that people want. We invest in the products that we believe in, and a great example of that is our cream cheese. So when the Creamery started, the first product they had was cream cheese. People were livid at the deli that we didn't have Philadelphia cream cheese anymore. They hated us for it. And for months, we just took nothing but Code Reds. Bring back the Philadelphia Code cheese. This is the worst thing I've ever tried. 7 months after we launched it, people would come in and say, this is the best cream cheese I've ever tried. I can't believe you ever had anything else. This is delicious. Right? So there are those things that you believe in that you know are better than anything else everyone's going to be able to find. You just have to keep working to convince them of that. And to say, keep trying it, taste it, try it, read this, whatever it is that you're selling. There's a reason why you believe in it, and conveying that to the person that's going to buy it. That's where we put a lot of our efforts. In tomorrow's breadwinners, I wouldn't say to follow the trends, but we can see what's happening. We all know what's going on in our own businesses. We can see where it's going to go. Try to find that next thing. That's not just going to be a flash in the pan, but something that's going to stay. We can even look at bacon. In the last 15 years, bacon's erupted as something everyone has, talks about all the time, wraps everything in. It's in chocolate, it's in spreads. Some things are disgusting. But it's here to stay, it's not going away. And then in the promoter building products. So I'm giving you guys away a sour cream coffee cake. We sell about $1 million in coffee cakes every year. I'm going to keep talking about coffee cake because it's really popular, it's really good, and there's a reason people keep coming back to buy it. If you were to go to the deli and you want to know what sandwich you should eat, the Reuben. What else is there? It's the most popular sandwich that we make. So not shying away from those products that everyone really likes and we're not poo-pooing the Reuben for some tempeh, chia seed, fig jam concoction, right? Someone comes in and wants a sandwich, you should try the Reuben. The president loves the Reuben. Mindy Kaling loves the Reuben. Guy from Flaming Lips loves the Reuben. Right? There's a reason. So we put a lot of effort into promoting those kinds of things. And not shying away. And then we build on those. So our coffee cakes now, it was the sour cream coffee cake, and there was a lemon poppy seed that came along, the blueberry buckle. Now I have probably 7 or 8 different iterations of the coffee cake throughout the whole year, and it's become seasonal. And it's something that there's a reason for people to keep coming back to and checking out. So that's where we invest our marketing resources. I know I'm kind of flying through, but I did finish my slides, and this was my first PowerPoint presentation, so I hope you enjoyed it. But, Jim, can I take some questions now? Because I'm sure there might be some.
First of all, please help me in thanking Brad for sharing all this information. We do have time for a few questions, so I'm going to give the mic over here.
David Vaughn, I actually have 3 quickies. I'd say 10% or so of consumers like to create code reds for retailers. How do you deal with those people who are the chronic code redders? 2 is what you've expanded at Detroit Metro. You've also announced, I think, the Guardian building in downtown Detroit. So tell us more about expansion plans. And 3rd is, how do you convince the New York Times to give you as much free advertising as the incoming president gets?
It helps to have an Ari Weinzweig. Ari Weinzweig has, for 35 years, been our major PR person. And after 35 years in the food industry, and he writes a lot of, there's food books out there, there's business books out there. He knows a lot of people. I even know a few people. So by this point in time, for being around as long as we have and continuing to keep doing those kinds of things, people will reach out to Ari. They'll reach out to me to know what's going on new. We're working on some in the spring. But for that kind of stuff, it's because Ari is a promotion machine and would email and go, hey, we got a new cheese coming out. You guys really should check it out. To answer your first question about how do you handle those retail ne'er-do-wells, with a smile. We do not believe in creating systems that will take care of that very small percentage of people that are taking advantage of you, but would then punish the vast majority of people that don't. So we all have stories from retail. I remember Seen people take a bottle of olive oil off the shelf, walk over to the register and say, I want to return this, I don't have the receipt. Give them their money. There's many people that we had to kind of follow that took a few weeks to say, you need to stop stealing from us. But we never have instilled any kind of a thing like they have to prove it. They don't have a receipt that you can't get against store credit. I have a reason-free refund, like at mail order. I don't even care what the problem is. If you say you're unhappy, that's enough for me. So I would, while you can see those dollars trickling away while it eats at us, that people are taking advantage of us, we don't believe that it's a good use of your energy and time to try to stop that very small percentage at the cost of everyone else, and at the cost of the experience of everyone else.
All right. Because we asked for a couple questions and David gave 3, that's our question.
So the third one was on expansion.
Yes, so the airport is unique because it's not a Zingerman's business. There are things that are licensed to it. Plum certainly buys a lot of Zingerman's products and has used our name for their own marketing purposes, which has created some challenging conversations within the community businesses. The Detroit one I know less of, but that would be Paul Saginaw. So the airport is something we talk about quite a bit. It is a different staff that we do not hire, and we try to train them, but can go a little bit. So it's not a sticking point, but it's something we're dealing with right now.
All right, thank you. If you got another question, Brad's going to stick around for a few minutes, so I'm sure he'll be happy to answer your question. Do I have a card from everybody that's interested in receiving one of those world famous awesome coffee cakes that Brad's going to give to you or send to you?
Real butter, real sour cream from Calder Dairy.
Fat-free, not.
And the walnuts toasted. You want to toast your nuts to bring the oils to the surface before you put them in there. It makes them much more flavorful. Obviously, there's a step not many bakers will take, but here at Zingerman's, we believe it's important for the full flavor.
Who describes a coffee cake like that?
It's hard about it all the
I
time.
want one. You guys have no idea. I went for, Brad was so nice to give me a tour of the mail order area. And I swear to God, that the 10-4 rule, before I left, I felt like I worked there. People were walking up to me, hey, how you introducing themselves? I had pats on the back. It was like incredible. I mean, I literally didn't want to leave. I ended up hanging out a lot longer than I was supposed to, so I appreciate that. Brad is going to draw a name for one of you lucky people.
Linda Baker.
Linda. All right, Linda. Make sure that afterwards you come up and see Brad when we're done. Thank you so much. So once again, thank you everyone. We appreciate it. We're going to take this is one of the best times. Although Brad's information was outstanding and awesome, we're going to pass the microphone around real quick. We've got about 10 minutes. I have confidence we can make it. Feel free, if you're not interested, just pass the mic. But please stand up. Let us know who you are, who you work for. If you have a quick ask or need, we'll get all the way around the room real quickly. We're going to start right up here with Susan.
Hi, Susan Christian. I work for Metal Art Builders, and I help them out with their marketing.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Thurvis. I work with Endeavor Detroit, which is a global nonprofit, a Detroit office of a global nonprofit supporting entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, and I manage our marketing and communications.
Hi, I'm Krista Cherry. I'm a marketing writer at Dual Security.
Hi, I'm Amy Vasquez, and I am a web developer at Dual Security.
Hello, I'm Steven Samuels. I'm design manager at Dual Security.
Guess what?
And I'm Brandon Owen. I'm a creative producer at Dual Security.
Hey, go backwards, please, for me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nancy Rojas Fairley, and I'm a creative marketing consultant from Jackson.
Hi, my name is Linda Baker, and I got a coffee in my hand here. I should never call you, but sorry. Thank you, Brad. Great presentation. I love Zingerman's. I'm fascinated by the customer service aspect, and that's really appreciated. For a living, I work for JDS as a nonprofit. I work as a matchmaker, trying to find companies that are hiring and people that come to JDS trying to look for work.
Hi, Pete Schmalneck. I'm CEO at a healthcare technology company here in town, also co-founder with Derek on Antelope. And then I also do a couple of other things with Ross Business School here in town. So.
Hi, I'm Molly Mason with Hoyden Creative Group. We're a marketing and design firm in Adrian, Michigan.
My name is George Paraso. I'm a video producer. My studio is Brainstream Creative. I work with small businesses, marketers to produce compelling content to get their message out there.
Hi, I'm Kathy Wilder. I'm the secretary for the Kiwanis of Ann Arbor Club, and I also work for Ford Investment Strategies. And my son is the server at the Roadhouse.
Is he really? What's your son's name?
Greg Wilder Romans.
There you go. Okay.
Hi, my name is Kim Burkle, and I'm launching a new business called Peak Community Marketing. I realize that many organizations, especially small businesses, don't have the resources or want to donate the resources to a full-time sales marketing position. However, they of course could benefit. So I'm going to be offering my consulting services to businesses looking for a high-energy, creative problem solver that will help them develop business. I have a strong focus in my marketing efforts on community engagement. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jordan Beecham, and I help out with our marketing and texture builders.
Hi everybody, Happy New Year. I'm Stacy from Dollar Bell, your local digital print shop, and boy, do we print for Zingerman. We love them. So yeah, some postcards, business cards, mailings, whatever you guys need. We're the place and we're fast.
They are.
Hi, I'm Sean Galante from Dollar Bill Copying also, and thank you for your business. We appreciate it.
Hi, Jeff Vilas, founder and owner of Arbor Pines Marketing, providing digital and traditional services, marketing services to local community businesses.
Hi, I'm Kevin Gillespie. I'm the Director of Creative Strategy for Big B Coffee. I'm doing that new year.
My name's John Tenza. I own Question Masters, and I help people, businesses, salespeople get better results by asking better questions.
Hi, my name is David Coleman. I work for Brandon, where we help retailers and brands manage their online pricing.
Hello, I'm Donna Greiling. I'm an independent marketing consultant and a writer, and recently I'm now teaching at the University of Michigan entrepreneurial marketing.
Susan Harris. I'm retired from Hedeman.
I'm Roger Rayle. I'm a venture catalyst. I help with a lot of networking groups, do a lot of live streaming, recording of video, like for this group and other worthy groups, and also run Ann Arbor Video Interest Group. We're starting our 4th year tonight, a2vig.org. We're probably maxed out on the number of people for tonight, but if you're interested, come see me afterward. I'll give you a card. We're on a temporary location, and there will be bagpipes, I understand. Yeah, I haven't told you about this yet.
This is going to be interesting. I'm Carter Sherline from Print Studios, and I'm a commercial editorial photographer, videographer, drone pilot. Like I shoot just about everything except for weddings. But I guess I'm known for shooting running and golf. If you do either of those things, you've probably seen me, and of course shoot meetings such as this one. And I worked at Zingerman 31 years ago.
Did you really?
About a year, yes. I was a porter, so anything that came in or went out, I carried. Got run over by 200-pound wheels of cheese going down the stairs. It's like in the cartoon a couple of times. It was a much different place.
Paul Sagan always told me they made more money from their sale of cigarettes in those first couple of years than they did anything else. So
You got them, smoke them.
it was a different world.
All right, thank you everyone. I'm Jim Musial. I help organize LA2M and all the events here. So again, we appreciate you so much for being here today. One more time, can you please help me thank Brad for being here. I'm sure I'm going to get some payback at the gym next time we're together. But I'm so thankful and appreciative for you being here today. Again, please take an LA2M card. If you can share it with a coworker, tape it up on your desk so you remember we're here every month. The second Wednesday of every month through the rest of the year we'll be here. We have some great speakers coming up next month. I believe it's February 8th. It was in the email, but we have Eric Wortman from Google who's going to come and share an insider's guide to Google for small business. So many of us use or try to use Google tools, and Eric's going to be here and teach us some tips and tricks on how we can utilize all of the great tools that Google have, and the majority of them are free. So I really encourage you to be here. Please share LA2M with your friends. We'd love to fill this place every month and have everybody here. As you can tell by today, we have great speakers. We have a lot of fun. We have great people who come in here, so we appreciate you being here, and we look forward to seeing everybody in February. Make sure you take some of the literature that Brad has left. There's some additional in the back if you need some more newsletters to take and share. They're fun, they're whimsical, and there's a ton of information in there, and get some great marketing ideas from them. So again, thank you, Brad. Thank you to all of you. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys all next month.
I don't want everyone to hear what I have to say about that. Actually.
Making like desserts and grow all our herbs. I go over to our house and get them and the food, I can't remember her name.